G'day guys, regular viewers on this channel will know that I like to try to keep things as optimistic as possible, particularly when talking about the Chaos Space Marine Codex. However, some nerfs are just so disastrous that there's no real optimistic spin on them, and today I want to talk about one of those nerfs, and that is the way Games Workshop has killed off Abaddon the Despoiler. They've made him practically unplayable in a Chaos Space Marine army. So today I want to talk about this nerf, how it works, how it impacts Chaos Space Marines, and also a little bit about how I think the loss of Abaddon is going to impact the greater meta and the way it's going to impact tournaments going forward, as Abaddon presented a very unique challenge to opponents that they no longer have to consider because he's not going to be as prevalent as he was previously. So with that being said, we're going to get into the video, but before we do, I also wanted to bring your attention to our monthly Patreon competition. So this month we're giving away a 3D printed Angron so that you can have it in your hands before the World Leaders Codex even hits the shelves. It'll be printed, you'll be able to paint it and build it, and have it ready for the tabletop as soon as that Codex is in your hands. So it's a really exciting competition, and all you have to do to enter is join our Patreon. You can sign up for as low as $4 a month, and that's going to allow you to enter this competition and get yourself potentially an Angron model so you can get started on a World Eaters force. So yeah, with all of that being said, let's just jump straight into the video.
Welcome to the Black God!
G'day guys, those who've been following this channel for a while will know that I generally like to keep things pretty positive, pretty upbeat and pretty optimistic over on Blog for the Blood God. However, every now and then a nerf does come our way that is particularly devastating and it does need to be addressed and talked about, but it's hard to shed a positive spin on it. So I'll give it a red hot go with this one, but we might be pushing shit uphill, so let's see how we go. The nerf that I want to talk about today is one that's happened to Abaddon. Now, we're all familiar with the fact that he went up 50 points, and a lot of people think that that's a nerf, but that's not really the nerf that I want to talk about. I think that that 50 points makes him more or less still playable. The nerf that I want to talk about is the way that the Arcs of Omen detachment works, and how that effectively renders Abaddon the Despoiler completely unplayable outside of Black Legion. And so basically the way this works with this new season of 40k, every player must take an Arcs of Omen detachment, and then you can take an additional allied detachment based on a certain number of criteria. And the criteria there is the factions. So if you take a Chaos Space Marine detachment as your primary Arcs of Omen detachment, you cannot take an allied detachment that is also Chaos Space Marines, and all of the other detachments are no longer legal. So you cannot take a Supreme Command detachment or a Vanguard or anything like that. So basically, Chaos Space Marines are left with a situation where they have to take an Arcs of Omen Chaos Space Marine detachment, and then one of a number of allied detachments, which cannot be another Chaos Space Marine detachment. Now, here's the particularly challenging part. On page 144 of the Chaos Space Marine Codex, it states that if your army is battle-forged, you cannot include units from two different legions in the same detachment. You can find out more about battle-forged armies in the Warhammer 40k core rulebook. So basically what this means is that if you take an Emperor's Children detachment as your Arcs of Omen detachment, you cannot include Abaddon because he has a Black Legion keyword. So you can't include him in that same detachment, and your allied detachment, which is the only other detachment available, cannot be a Chaos Space Marines detachment, and therefore you cannot include Abaddon the Despoiler. So this results in basically making it so that Abaddon the Despoiler is completely unplayable, illegal to play, unless you run a pure Black Legion army, or an army that is Black Legion with an allied detachment of other units. But basically there's no situation where you can compare Abaddon the Despoiler with any of the other legions. So as a result, one of this Chaos Space Marine's biggest tools, something that's been an auto-include in almost every Chaos Space Marine army, has gone from being an auto-include to not a legal choice. So it's not a simple matter of, oh, he went up in points and now it's a difficult decision on whether or not you would like to include him or not. and some people may and some people don't, which means he's relatively balanced when compared to other options within the book. Now it's just gone from pretty much you must take him if you want to be competitive to you can't take him no matter how competitive you may want to be. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of bring that out because I know there's a lot of people that have misunderstood this point, misinterpreted this point. But as far as I can see, there's no way around this. There's no way to get Abaddon the Despoiler in the same army as any of the other legions from the Chaos Space Marine Codex. So that's beyond a nerf. That's death. That's death to Abaddon. So unless you want to run Black Legion, which, I mean, you may want to run Black Legion because they are a very powerful legion. I've got a masterclass on Black Legion coming out very soon because I think they've got some really interesting play. And I think they got around a little bit of the stuff that were nerfs for the rest of the Chaos Space Marines. So there's some interesting stuff to talk about there. But if you were one of the majority of players who played other factions and other legions, you no longer can take Abaddon the Despoiler. So I just wanted to make sure that I shared that information with you and made sure that everybody was on the same page in terms of Abaddon the Despoiler. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you agree with this interpretation and if you agree with this understanding of the rule. I know 40k can be quite a complex game. There's a lot of moving parts. Even this, the fact that the rule is on page 144, even though like way up at the start of the book, you know, in the 50s, pages somewhere around 60, it's got all the rules, 76, sorry. It's got all of the different detachment abilities. And then in 77, it's got all of the different rules regarding legion traits and legion detachments. Nowhere in there does it mention not being able to mix legions in a single detachment. It's only when you get all the way to the end after the data sheets that it actually includes this rule. So it's completely reasonable and understandable that people have missed this rule. But now that it has been brought to my attention, I felt a responsibility to bring it to yours. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this. Let me know if you think this is the end of Abaddon or if you think people are just going to pivot into playing Black Legion. And yeah, we'll get a conversation going in the comments below. Make sure to head over to our Patreon where you can gain access to our Discord server as well. We get good conversations going on over there. We do one-on-one coaching and training. We'll help you write your lists. We'll help you with everything like that. Help you understand the fundamentals of the game, things like deployment, tricks, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. We have a really good little coaching community over there. And also, feel free to pick up a shirt or a, you know, a set of objective markers or some dice or something like that. Every dollar that comes through is a great way of showing your support to the channel, and we very much appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.
Welcome to the Blood God.
The Warhammer community suffers from some of the most prohibitively expensive essentials in the world, especially Australian content creators. Every single day, Dean wants to create content, but he can't. Suffering from old, worn-out brushes, expensive model kits, and costly software and equipment, he can't endure much longer. Just look at this dirty paint water. Would you drink this? Would you let your child? Even a small monthly donation can help provide Dean with clean paint water, basic tools for survival, and access to life-saving information and education. So please, follow the links in the description below and find out how you can sponsor a mad cunt like Dean today and end the suffering. Suffering that is cruel, unsustainable, and your fault.
Do your objective markers ever get lost behind terrain or other models and become difficult to see? Do they ever get bumped and accidentally moved during a game? And do they ever spark arguments about distances? Well, not anymore. Introducing the blog for the blood god, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers. Made from the same material as astronaut suits, or maybe military equipment, or probably neither of those things, this 2mm thick neoprene synthetic rubber is tear resistant, water resistant, and is designed to last. But that's not all. The blog for the blood god, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers come in a variety of different designs and styles to suit any faction represented in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These objective markers are a perfect gift for yourself or a friend, and are a perfect way to flex and show your opponent that not only are you a smarter, cooler, and better 40k player than them, but you also have more disposable income than they do. For the low price of $25, you'll get not 1, not 2, but 6 neoprene objective markers, perfectly designed for 9th edition Warhammer 40k. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, people who sign up on Patreon to support Blog for the Blood God as a Skull Champion tier $5 per month member will gain access to a custom design service where I will design a unique logo to support their gaming club, like the one I did to the left here for the Potato Farmers local gaming club here in Melbourne. Follow the links in the description of this video to pick up your set today.